is an Afro-Brazilian martial art. It was created by slaves on the plantations in Brazil as a means of rebellion and resistance.
It's more than just a martial art, it's a cultural art. It involves much more than just, kicking and dodging. It's, learning the music, learning how to play instruments.
It's disguised as a dance, it's done to music, it's played in a circle, and it's a very deceptive yet effective martial art.
Music, culture, a place to be. It's like you can find everything in a Capoeira Academy you go.
Historically, the purpose of capoeira was when we as slaves rebelled and ran away from the plantation and the bounty hunters came to get us and bring us back, we could use our martial art to defend ourselves and stay free.
The dance aspect was to cover up, to don't show the landlord. It was like a martial art or a weapon to defend, to fight.
When we created our freed communities called quilombos and the armies were sent to get us, we could use our capoeira to stay free. So the purpose originally was to rebel and remain free.
Of course, there is some tradition and some criteria universal for capoeira. If you go too much out of it, you're going out of the tradition.
There is a requirement for capoeira. Now, the first requirement is that you have to be human, and the second requirement is that you have to be able to smile. Because if you walk in here and you're just one of those angry individuals, we'll politely ask you to go to judo or jiu-jitsu or krav maga. Find something else because this isn't the place for you.
My friends are definitely afraid to actually participate, but they're willing to see it. They're excited to see it.
People should be very focused and serious is who you allow to teach and graduate and who they claim themselves capoeiristas.
There are what we call capoeiristas. We are those that practice capoeira. We're not just capoeira fighters or capoeira dancers. Some people come to the art because they like the music, they like the dance. Some people come for the whole package.
Everybody can play capoeira, and I hope the whole planet takes some advantage of capoeira because you can get a lot of the physical aspect. First of all, if the coordination, the dancing.
Yeah, I didn't know my body could move that way. I didn't know I could bend and stretch that way.
Capoeira has become my life. There is a song that says, without capoeira, I cannot live.
Initially, I was going to sign up for a writing program at the Adult School of Montclair, and when it became unavailable, I didn't know what else to do, but capoeira was listed as, an open program to take, and I thought I might give it a try.
I, like most people, came into capoeira by accident. Capoeira is something that you find, or it manages to find you. It's not something that you saw an ad on a billboard for and you thought that looked really cool.
It was a necessity for me to defend myself from my own friends in school. So I learned capoeira for a long time, and then I realized that was one of the major elements in my life that kept me away from being drugs, being violence, or the other face of the world. So capoeira was the one thing who kept me in the straight line, according to capoeira, that is the right way to go.
I used to run a full-contact karate school. I loved nothing more than stepping onto a mat with someone in front of the cameras, with the crowds, and collecting my prize money for beating them to a pulp. That was what gave me great enjoyment. And sadly, it's very hard to leave that feeling in the ring. And I wound up getting into a lot of physical confrontations outside of the mat, which I really didn't mind because I loved beating people up. However, I was becoming a not-so-nice person because I was just fighting whenever I got the chance. Fortunately, I went to Brazil and I found capoeira. And since that magical day back in 1999, I have not done karate since.
My batizado was beautiful, actually. It was just the most beautiful sunny day.
Batizados are the chance for students to progress to the next level in front of everyone else. Most martial arts have some system of graduation. So we wear cords. The cords symbolize what rank or what level that we have, and each year you may progress to the next rank or level.
It was a fantastic game. My family was there, my friends were there, everyone was being very supportive, my classmates were being very supportive, and getting my first cord made me feel like I was really incorporated into something great and wonderful and historical. Recently, I took a trip to Virginia for a batizado, and I saw old videotapes of all these old batizados. videos, and I saw a woman playing, and she was about, I think, like 8 months pregnant.
I don't see no difference for woman capoeira. Of course, the ignorance of the planet to keep like a woman such as a fragile species.
Sometimes women have an advantage because they have more flexibility, and but they are just as courageous as the men. You know, they match the men in performance and agility. So it's very inspiring, and there's women there from all ages. So I'm inspired to continue to play as a woman.
The youngest kids that we have here in our school are 3, and we only accept 3-year-olds if they have a sibling in the class. What we find is the normal age to start capoeira is 5. That's usually the age where kids are used to paying attention, following the teacher's instructions. However, younger siblings sit on the side while their older siblings take class, and they get jealous, and so they wander out on the floor, and so what we do is we let them.
I open between 4 and 5 years old, but I have arrived already kids with 3.5 years old, 3 years old, who was capable to follow the class. So I allowed them to participate.
And then what we find is some kids at the age of 3 and 4, since they've been watching and coming out every now and then, are ready to take class.
Well, because you can see the children doing the movements, and you can see women doing the movements, women that are much older than women with children, and you see men in their 60s able to perform this way, you feel like you can do it too. Capoeira is a progressive thing. You have to stay with it, and you have to learn the music and the movements. The songs dictate the movement that should be played in the game.
Berimbau is this instrument that is here next to me. This instrument has roots in West Africa, but exists only in this form in Brazil.
It's important to understand the lyrics and to understand the tunes that are being played, because that'll help you play correctly. Not just play, but play correctly.
So playing capoeira, people will talk about, oh, so is a good capoeira, he do this, he do that, he's do acrobatic, he fight, he defend himself. So that popularity unconsciously like get contagious, everybody will talk about.
I do not want to quit capoeira ever. I have definitely incorporated into my personal life by continuing to listen to samba music and continue to listen to capoeira CDs in my car. So I'm still trying to learn the practices of capoeira even though I'm not in the classroom.
Capoeira is the fastest and largest growing martial art in the United States today. Capoeira is a martial art born out of adaptation, so it constantly changes. So there's so much to learn. You can never get bored doing capoeira. Once you've learned a movement one way, you learn to adapt it into something else. Once you've learned movements, then you need to learn music. Then you need to learn the instruments. Then you need to learn the history. So in capoeira, it's very hard to get bored or tired of doing it.